So, looking at the chapter review, we had a question on a problem like this that said use the definition of the log in order to solve this equation. The question is, how in the world do you use the definition of log to solve the equation? Well, what's the definition of log of x? It's inverse to the 10 to the x function, and you need to know that. Okay? And knowing then that it's inverse to the 10 to the x function, well, that's inverse to the b to the x function. Log to the base b of x equals y means b to the y equals x, right? Well, you know, and whatever letters you use, okay? Well, this means that log a of b is the same as log base 10 of a equals b, and using the formulas we use to turn around, which just express the inverse function nature, this tells us that a equals 10 to the b, right?
Yeah.
So all we have to do here is isolate log of 5n, and that's real easy. Add 6 to both sides, divide by 4. You get log of 5n equals negative 1/2. Turn it around to exponential form. Tells you 5n is 10 to the negative 1/2. And then you evaluate 10 to the negative 1/2, and you get 0.3 or something close to it. So 5n is 0.3, etc. Okay? So it's just the same kind of equation that you've been solving with the same methods, the same method you've used for a linear equation, except you're isolating log of something rather than like an x. And you use the definition of the log log, and you get this. Okay, another one. We know that you can invest money at rate r, then your principal function is p of t equals p naught e to the rt. If we don't know that, make a note, because we really do know that, need to know that now. You know, we've been over that for a couple of weeks now. So we know that p of t equals p naught e to the rt. As soon as you see that you have 4% annual interest compounded continuously, what does that tell you? What's 4%? That's your r. So you're going to put a 0.04 here, and now you know that p of t is p naught e to the 0.04t. Before you even read the rest of the problem, right? Now, in the problems that I've given you, you've known p naught, and you're trying to find out when it's going to get to a certain amount, right? And we've done problems like that. You've solved problems like that. Okay, in this case, we turn it around a little bit. We say, how much do you need to invest now in order to have $20,000 after 6 years? Okay? Now what's that mean? Well, $20,000 is going to be your P of T. And you're going to have to find P naught, how much you originally invest. Now you have to know that P naught is your T equals 0 investment and all that, but that's stuff that we really should know at this point. And if you don't, you need to review a little bit. So you should be prepared to understand this, but if not, go back, review, and then take another look at this video and the video that I did in MCR if you want to see a more extensive step-by-step explanation, one step at a time, okay? Because that's what you have in the MCR. Okay, so P of T is this, and we know what? If you have $20,000 after 6 years, well, P of T is how much you have after T years, right?
Yep.
So P of 6 is going to be $20,000. Okay? Now, you don't have to write this step out. You can go directly to this, but it's a good idea to write this step out because it's the simplest expression of the information you're given. It says your principal after 6 years is $20,000, right? Also, P of T is P naught e to the 0.04t. Well, we put those two things together. P of 6, well, you replace T by 6, that'd be P naught e to the 0.04 times 6. That's your P of 6. And that's got to be $20,000, and now we have an equation that we can really easily solve for P naught. Because e to the 0.04 times 6 is just a number that you can get off your calculator. Okay? So we divide both sides by e to the 0.04 times 6. Well, 0.04 times 6 is 0.24. So we write it this way, but P naught is this. You plug it into your calculator and you get your amount. You got to investigate. Yeah, you got to invest about $15,800 in order to have $20,000 after 6 years. For some reason, you have this goal, I need to have $20,000 after 6 years. How much do I need to invest now? That's how you solve it. We also have a picture. Here's your P of T function. And this is simply saying that, well, this graph has just the same shape as the 2 to the x function. It's just that the axes have different numbers on them. Okay? So you can safely draw a 2 to the x function and then figure out what numbers go where. P naught goes here. 6 is your T. And at T equals 6, you want to have $20,000. Okay? Now, what we saw last time convinced me that not everybody understands what that graph is telling you and what that picture is telling you. That's one thing we want to address. So, there's that picture. Okay, there's another thing we did, so I'll talk briefly about that.